You know that feeling that there is this huge secret separating women who live in constant stress from those who sleep peacefully at night? Well, there is. And it is not being born rich, it is not marrying a millionaire, it is not inheritance. It is something much simpler and much more powerful. Something I discovered in my early 20s when I was still putting groceries on my credit card and crying in the shower looking at my statement. And when I discovered this, everything changed. My bank account changed. My posture changed. Even the way people treated me changed. And today, right here, right now, I am going to tell you what that secret is. But first, let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that there are women who earn less than you and still seem calmer? While you, who work so hard, live with that tightness in your chest every time money hits your account? Well, the difference is not in how much comes in. It is in controlling your financial nervous system. And I, Duchess Dollars, am going to teach you exactly how to do this. Rule number 5. Do not take everything so seriously. Seriously. And finally, the last rule. The rule that completely changed the way I live. Do not take everything so seriously. Look, I know there are important things. Of course there are. Your career is important. Your money is important. Your goals are important. But that does not mean you need to live tense 24 hours a day. That does not mean you cannot laugh, that you cannot be light, that you cannot be human. The most successful people I know have a sense of humor. They know how to make jokes. They know how to make the environment lighter. Because nobody wants to work with someone who is always tense, always serious, always complaining about how hard everything is. People want to be around those who are light, who are pleasant, who make the day less heavy. I started doing this in my meetings. Instead of starting right away with numbers, graphs, problems, I start with a win. I ask each person to share something good that happened during the week. It can be personal, it can be professional, whatever. And you know what happens? People become more relaxed, they become more open, and the meeting flows better. Because when you treat people and not like robots, they respond better. And look, I put my personality into everything I do. I decorate my office for Halloween. I wear extravagant clothes. I make jokes. Because why does everything have to be so serious? Why does everything have to be so formal? Life is already hard enough. Money already gives enough trouble. So why not make it all a little lighter? And when you do that, when you show your personality, when you do not take everything so seriously, you become less anxious. Because you are not trying to be perfect. You are not trying to control everything. You are just being you. And that takes a huge weight off your shoulders. And when you are lighter, you make better decisions. You act better. You live better. So stop thinking that to be successful, you need to be this serious, formal, robotic person. You do not need to. You can be funny. You can be light. You can be yourself and still be a millionaire. Actually, it is by being yourself that you become a millionaire. Because people do business with those they like. And nobody likes boring people. Rule number 4, stay quiet. Just stay quiet. This rule here is pure gold. And I learned it from a very uncomfortable situation. I was 23 years old and was in a negotiation meeting. I was the bridge between the vendor and my boss. And I thought it would be smooth. But my boss decided to massacre the vendor. He was ruthless. He said the product was not good, that the price was absurd, that there were better options. And the vendor, poor thing, was being destroyed right in front of me. And me? I panicked. I started turning red. I started playing with my hair, biting my nails, shifting in my chair, because I was super uncomfortable. And you know what happened? Everyone noticed. Everyone saw that I was nervous. And that made me look weak, made me look insecure, made me look amateur. That is when I learned, when you do not know what to do nothing. When you do not know what to say nothing. Just stay quiet. Just stay still. Because your body gives everything away. If you are nervous, your body shows it. If you are insecure, your body screams it. And the people around you notice. And they treat you accordingly. So I learned to stay quiet. I learned to sit comfortably and let the situation unfold. Because you do not always need to react. You do not always need to speak. Sometimes, just being present, calm, observing, already shows that you are in control. And when people see that you are in control, they trust you. And trust generates opportunities. And opportunities generate money. Today, when I am in a tense situation, I take a deep breath and stay quiet. I do not move. I do not say nonsense just to fill the silence. I just observe. I just wait. And at the right time, when I know exactly what needs to be said, then I speak. And when I speak, people listen. Because I am not wasting words. I am not showing nervousness. I only speak when there is something really important to say. And look, this applies to everything. It applies to work meetings. It applies to salary negotiations. It applies to difficult conversations with your partner. It applies to any situation where you are feeling uncomfortable. Because discomfort does not kill. Silence does not kill. What kills is showing weakness. What kills is losing control. So breathe, stay quiet, and let the storm pass. Rule number 1, preparation is power, and power is money. You know that story that luck is when preparation meets opportunity? Well, my dear, it is not coach talk. It is the rawest truth there is. I learned this the most painful way possible. At 23, I was working as a law intern. I earned a pittance. But I had an important meeting with a big client. And I, fool that I was, thought I could just show up and improvise. After all, I was good at talking, right? Result? I froze. Could not answer the questions. Turned red, broke into a cold sweat. And of course, I lost the opportunity to impress the right people. But you know what changed everything? When I started observing the women who really commanded respect. The vice president of technology I told you about? She arrived 15 minutes before any meeting, reviewed all the points, had a clear agenda, knew exactly what she wanted from that conversation. And guess what? She always got what she wanted. Always. Because when you are prepared, you do not get nervous. You get excited. You get confident. And confidence, my friend, is worth more than any diploma hanging on the wall. Today, before any meeting, any negotiation, any important conversation about money, I do my homework. I research the person on Google, look at their LinkedIn, stalk their Instagram, read everything ChatGPT has to say about them. And you know why? Because information is power. And when you know who you are dealing with, you are no longer a spectator. You are the protagonist. You lead the conversation where you want it to go. And that is how you get the raise. That is how you close the deal. That is how you move from the position of someone who begs to the position of someone who chooses. And look, this does not just apply to work meetings. It applies to life. You want to ask for a discount at an expensive store? Prepare yourself. Research prices elsewhere. Know exactly how much you can pay. Have your arguments ready. Because when you are prepared, you do not have that poor person voice asking for a favor. You have the posture of someone who knows their own value. And people notice. And they treat you accordingly. I remember when I started studying financial education, I even prepared my conversations with the bank manager. I would arrive there knowing exactly how much each investment yielded, what the fees were, what the alternatives were. And you know what happened? The manager treated me differently because he saw that I was no longer that lost girl who accepted anything. I was a woman who knew what she wanted. And that, dear, changes everything. Now, before I tell you the next rules, let me tell you about something. If you are here with me until now, it is because you really want to change. You want to stop living in this financial anxiety. You want to have control. You want to look like and be a successful woman. And I have something that can greatly accelerate this transformation of yours. I am an affiliate of an incredible course called Look Rich Without Spending Much. And look, this course is not about pretending to be rich. It is about understanding the codes. It is about knowing how rich women dress, behave, communicate. Because there is a visual and behavioral language that separates those who are taken seriously from those who are not. And when you master this language, doors open. People treat you differently. Opportunities appear. And the best part? The course has a promotional launch price right now because the classes are being released gradually. When the course is complete, the price goes up to full price. No discount. So if you want to learn these codes, if you want to be seen and treated as a successful woman, the time is now. The link is in the description. Do not wait, because later you will pay more. And saving money is also something rich people do. Rule number 3, nothing from one thing alone ends everything. So relax. This one here is one of my favorites. And it is a phrase from Grant Cardone that I love. Nothing from one thing blows the deal. You know what that means? That you can make mistakes. You can say something stupid. You can forget a detail. And the world will not end. You will not die. Nobody will die. And most importantly, you will not lose everything because of one mistake. I learned this the worst way possible. I was 25 years old. I was giving a super important presentation. It was a room with 45 people, executives, directors, people who could change my career, and I was prepared, had rehearsed, knew everything. I started well. The first 5 minutes were perfect, and then I looked at the audience and froze. I simply froze. My brain shut down. And I, who had a 1-hour presentation, finished in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. I spoke everything fast, without breathing, without pausing, just to get it over with. It was horrible. It was embarrassing. I wanted to disappear. And you know what happened after? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I did not lose my job, did not lose my boss, did not lose my career. Did it hurt? Yes. Was it uncomfortable? Very. Did I spend months not wanting to speak in public again? Definitely. But I did not die, and my life went on. And today I am here, a millionaire, telling you this story. So clearly that was not the end of the world. And that is what you need to understand. One thing does not end everything. One mistake does not define you. One failure does not destroy you. What destroys you is giving up after the mistake. It is not trying again. It is letting fear paralyze you. Because if you make a mistake and continue, you learn, you improve, you get stronger. But if you make a mistake and give up, then you really lose. Look, all the women I admire made mistakes. Kylie Jenner had products that did not sell well. Suze Orman gave advice that she later said was wrong. Gisele Bündchen fell on the runway. And they all continued. Because they knew that one mistake does not define anything. So stop putting so much pressure on yourself. Stop thinking you need to be perfect. Stop being afraid of making mistakes. Because while you are there paralyzed with fear of taking a wrong step, other women are making mistakes, learning, and getting rich. And you stay in the same place, with fear, with anxiety, with your account in the red. Rule number 2, you do not need any ritual to be awesome. You already are. Now comes the part that will shock you. You know that story that you need to wake up at 5 in the morning, meditate, do yoga, drink lemon water, write 3 pages of gratitude, and only then are you ready to face the day. Lie. Big lie they sold you. And you know why? Because when you believe you need all that to function, you create a crutch. And crutches, my friend, make you dependent. And dependency makes you weak. And weakness makes you poor. Look, I also fell for that. In my early 20s, I would wake up early, do a 2-hour morning routine, because they sold me that I needed this to have a productive day. And you know what happened? I spent the whole morning preparing to work instead of working. I created a narrative in my head that the day was going to be difficult, heavy, tiring. And guess what? The day was difficult, heavy, and tiring, because I was selling myself that idea. Until one day my alarm did not go off. I woke up late. Did not have time for any of that. Had to leave in a rush. And you know what happened? The day was great. I rocked the meeting, closed an important deal, and I realized I did not need any of that. I just needed to be prepared. I just needed to know what I was doing. The rest was theater. The most successful people I know do not have crazy rituals. They have discipline. They do the work, they study, they prepare, and when the opportunity comes, they are ready. Not because they did a ritual, but because they work hard every day. And when you work hard every day, you do not need anything extra. You are already good enough. And another thing, when you become dependent on rituals, you become fragile. Because what if one day you cannot do the ritual? What if you have to make an important decision without having time to do your 6-step routine? You will freeze, you will panic, because you sold yourself the idea that without that you do not function. And that, my dear, is a big trap. So stop looking for excuses. Stop saying you need to be in the right mood, at the right time, with the right energy. You just need to be prepared. You just need to know what you are doing. And the rest is talk for those who are afraid to take responsibility for their own success. And now, let me tell you what all this has to do with you getting rich. Controlling your nervous system is not about deep breathing. It is not about meditation. It is not about morning rituals. It is about preparation. It is about confidence. It is about knowing that one mistake does not define you. It is about knowing how to stay quiet when you need to. And it is about not taking everything so seriously. When you master these 5 rules, you change. You stop living in panic every time you need to talk about money. You stop trembling when you have to ask for a raise. You stop breaking into a cold sweat when you have to negotiate. And you know what happens? People notice. And they treat you differently. And they pay you differently. I went from an anxious girl who could barely speak in a meeting to a woman who today negotiates contracts worth millions of dollars. And the difference is not in how much I know. It is in how I carry myself. It is in how I control my nervousness. It is in how I show the world that I know what I am doing. And you can do the same. It does not matter where you are coming from. It does not matter how much you earn now. It does not matter how many mistakes you have already made. What matters is that you decide today that you will control your nervous system, that you will prepare yourself, that you will stop depending on rituals, that you will accept that mistakes happen, that you will learn to stay quiet, and that you will stop taking everything so seriously. And every Saturday morning, when I grab my gourmet coffee and sit down to update my spreadsheet, I remember how it was when I had no control over anything, when I would panic with any unexpected event, when I thought one mistake would end my life. And I am grateful for having learned these lessons, because they not only made me calmer, they made me richer. Wealth is method, my dear, and method starts with control. Control of your money, yes, but above all, control of yourself, because when you control your nervousness, you control your decisions. And when you control your decisions, you control your future. And when you control your future, you get rich. So if you made it this far, if you watched this entire video, it is because you are ready. Ready to change. Ready to take control. Ready to stop being controlled by anxiety and start controlling your own life. And I am here to help you with that. If you want more content like this, if you want to continue learning how to get out of the struggle and join the team of women who sleep peacefully, subscribe to the channel now and leave that like. Because each like is a woman saying she is tired of living in fear of opening the bank app. And it is a woman deciding that it will be different. And tell me here in the comments, control changes everything. Write that if you understood the message of this video. Because I want to know who is really committed to changing, who is really willing to do what needs to be done, and who will be here with me in a few years, drinking gourmet coffee and updating the spreadsheet, laughing about how it was when they thought anxiety was destiny. Because it is not, my dear. Anxiety is a choice. And you can choose differently. You can choose to prepare yourself. You can choose to trust yourself. You can choose not to take everything so seriously. And when you make these choices, the money comes. The tranquility comes. The life you always wanted comes. So let us go together. Because I did not teach you to be rich just so you could continue being poor. I taught you so you would act. So you would change. So you would become the woman you always knew you could be. The one who does not tremble in front of the bank manager. The one who does not break into a cold sweat when asking for a raise. The one who knows exactly what she wants and is not afraid to go get it. And remember, controlling your nervous system is not about never feeling fear. It is about feeling fear and acting anyway. It is about being nervous and not letting anyone notice. It is about being insecure on the inside but showing confidence on the outside. Because at the end of the day, the world does not care about what you are feeling. The world cares about what you are doing. And when you do the right things, even with fear, you win. So go ahead, prepare yourself. Stop with the crazy rituals. Accept that you will make mistakes. Learn to stay quiet. And stop taking everything so seriously. Do this and tell me in 6 months how your life changed, how your bank account changed, how you changed. Because I know you can. I know you will. And I will be here every week, reminding you that you were born to have the best. That you deserve to be rich. And that being rich is not luck. It is choice. It is method. It is control. So control your nervous system. Control your money. Control your life. And come be rich with me. Because poverty is a state of mind. And state of mind, my dear, can be changed much easier than marital status. Trust me. I have already changed both. A kiss from a woman who cried on the bus and today cries on the private jet. And believe me, it is much better to cry on the way to Europe than on the way to work. So let us go together. Toward the top. Toward wealth. Toward the life you always deserve to have. Look, when I was 23 years old, I was a walking bundle of nerves. Any meeting, any conversation about money, any demand left me in a panic. I would break into a cold sweat. My voice would shake. I would turn red. And you know the worst part? People noticed. And when people notice you are insecure, they treat you as insecure. They pay you as insecure. They respect you as insecure. That is when I met a vice president of technology, a woman who had 20 years of career experience, who taught me the first lesson that changed my life. Whoever controls their own nervousness controls the situation. And whoever controls the situation, dear, gets rich. So come with me because I am going to give you the 5 golden rules that transformed me from a chronic anxious person who put rice on the credit card in 6 installments into a woman who today drinks gourmet coffee every Saturday morning while updating her financial spreadsheet. And look, if you want to learn to be truly rich, subscribe to the channel now, activate the bell, and leave that like, because this video could be the turning point between you continuing in the struggle or finally breathing easy when you open the bank app.